Hi everyone, my name is JT Pilot and today we'll be making another video. This time we'll be doing a random airport date of my Baltimore-Thurgood International Airport. And this is the 10th random airport day, and this is for the second half of June 2024. I have a pretty long-awaited random airport day to the channel, just because this is one of the largest airport dates I've ever done on my YouTube channel. This video will be split up into several sections of all the concourses over at Baltimore-Thurgood International Airport. So nonetheless, we'll be starting off with Concourse Alpha and Bravo in today's airport day, and let's get started. And alright, so we're gonna be starting off with Concourse Alpha and Concourse Bravo. So on our left side of your screen, right over here, is Concourse Alpha. So these two concourses consist of all Southwest Airlines aircraft. There's a tons of Southwest models in today's airport date, so that is going to be really exciting. And that's going to be really exciting because that's such a large Southwest collection. I've been looking forward to doing this airport day for quite a long time, just because I've been to Baltimore-Thurgood International Airport several times, flying on Southwest Airlines, and I've seen several special livery aircraft will be representing in today's airport date. So that's really exciting. Yes, and also lots of my family live in Maryland, so Baltimore-Thurgood International Airport is close by them, so it's a somewhat sentimental airport to me. So yes, and now in the final reason why I'm doing this airport day today is just because of my large Southwest collection. I have tons of Southwest models, and we could represent a full, accurate random airport day. And also there is a new mat, this blank white board I have, just because the other board I was using will be customized into the Norfolk International Airport layout, so I'll have airport markings. And also I decided to get a new mat for the random airport dates, and I kind of like this one better anyways. It's a little bit more shiny, so kind of gives the models a little reflective shine. You'll see that later on today's airport date. So once again, we have Concourse Alpha on your left, consisting of Southwest Airlines aircraft. Then the terminal kind of jolts over to the check-in area and like the TSA, all that. There's a terminal there. There are several entry points to each of the concourses, so here's one there. This part right here is currently being renovated, and they're building new gates right here, so that's why there's a blank space there. And then we proceed on to Concourse Bravo, so that's the second half of this section there of the airport day. So there you go. Consists of all Southwest Airlines aircraft. This is an older section. This Concourse Alpha is recently renovated, so this is a new section. And then the terminals keep on going. They loop around the roadway over here. So yeah, so there is more. So there is a walkway to Concourse Charlie, which we'll be covering later on in this airport update. So nonetheless, let's get started off with our very first aircraft in today's airport day. So welcome to the Baltimore International Airport. And alright, so starting off with our first Boeing 737 in today's airport day from Southwest Airlines. There will be a ton of Southwest aircraft in today's airport day. There should be around 30 Southwest 737s. So yeah, not 747s. So yeah, so there's a ton of Southwest aircraft in today's airport day, and lots of exciting routes, and some different routes that are unique to Baltimore, which is really exciting. Something to change, so to change up the Southwest routes a little bit up in these airport updates. So starting off our first aircraft, you have the lovely NG model Southwest 747-700 with the Canyon Blue winglet. So there you go. Grateful to use this model in today's airport update. He's just arrived in from Orlando at Southwest Flight 513. We'll be continuing on to Boston today. So there you go. So those are some cool flights there. Proceeding on to our next aircraft, here we have another Southwest 747-700. This time this is the Gemini Jets version. He's just arrived in from my home airport, Norfolk, Virginia, at Southwest Flight 4849. And he'll be soon heading out to Louisville, Kentucky, at Southwest Flight 423. Proceeding on to our first 747-800 in today's airport day. There's a ton of 747-800 routes over at Baltimore, so that's really exciting. So this aircraft has just arrived in from Orlando at Southwest Flight 1488. You'll be heading out to Syracuse, New York at Southwest Flight 2963. And alright, so proceeding on to our next aircraft. Here we Southwest Boeing 747-700 with the split skimmer winglets. He's just arrived in from Austin and be continuing out to Buffalo, New York, or Southwest Flight 1700. Proceeding on to our next aircraft, here the lovely Gemini Jet Southwest Boeing 737-MAX 8 First of several Southwest MAX 8s in today's airport update, this aircraft has arrived in from Raleigh-Durham at Southwest Flight 1715, be heading out to Montego Bay in Jamaica at Southwest Flight 906, so really cool to utilize some international routes over at Baltimore. And alright, so moving on to our next aircraft, here is Southwest 747-700 with the blended winglets. He's just arrived in from Kansas City at Southwest Flight 3824, and he'll be soon heading out to Colorado Springs at Southwest Flight 57. And proceeding on to our first special livery aircraft in today's airport day, which is the Southwest 747-MAX 8 in the beautiful Desert Gold livery, which has made a visit today, Sunday, June 9th. So that's really, it's a really cool aircraft to represent in today's airport day, and I have not used this NG model in quite a bit. So what a beautiful model here, and this aircraft has arrived in from Fort Lauderdale at Southwest Flight 2930, and be soon heading out to Cancun at Southwest Flight 1609. So fun fact, I did see this aircraft in real life when its livery was painted on the 737-700 from this exact same gate from this passenger windows there in July of 2021, July 31st, 2021, just to be exact. And yes, I was grateful to catch that 747-700 as that aircraft was scrapped for parts a few months ago. So yeah, it's really sad to see, but I'm grateful that at least featured the 747-MAX 8 in today's airport day, and hopefully this aircraft will fly for years to come in this beautiful Desert Gold. And alright, so proceeding on to our next aircraft, here is Southwest 747-800 in the Heart livery, that beautiful NG miles release. He's just arrived in from Las Vegas at Southwest Flight 3199. He'll be soon heading out to Greenville, Spartanburg at Southwest Flight 2132. So that is a beautiful NG model there. And proceeding on to our next aircraft, here is NG model Southwest 747-700 in the Heart livery. Notice that drastic color difference there. So this aircraft has just arrived in from Cleveland at Southwest Flight 4230, and you'll be continuing on to San Diego today. Proceeding on to our next aircraft here, this Phoenix model Southwest Airlines Boeing 747-MAX 8. He's just arrived in from Fort Myers at Southwest Flight 331. Be soon heading out to Kansas City at Southwest Flight 840. So what a great model there. And proceeding on to our next aircraft here, the Southwest 747-700 in the Maryland 1 livery. So this aircraft did not make a visit in today's airport day, but we are doing a Maryland update, so I had to include this aircraft. And plus, this aircraft right here will be soon retired, and this Maryland 1 livery will likely be repainted onto a 747-800. And in November 214 Whiskey November itself will be retired from Southwest Airlines completely. So that's really sad to see. And I believe this will be occurring this month. So that's really sad to see. It's such a beautiful aircraft here. And yes, this aircraft has never worn the standard Southwest livery, either the Can Blue or the Heart livery. It's been wearing this Maryland 1 livery its whole entire life over at Southwest Airlines. So yes, it's sad to see this aircraft go. It's such a beautiful model here. But yeah, so I can't wait to see this aircraft on a 747-800. And in today's airport update, this aircraft has arrived in from Tampa and be continuing on to Chicago O'Hare at Southwest Flight 1637. And proceeding on to our next aircraft here with another Southwest 747-700 with Swiss Skimmer winglets. This time, this aircraft has arrived in from Albany at Southwest Flight 2643 and be soon heading out to New Orleans in Louisiana today at Southwest Flight 3765. Proceeding on to our next aircraft, yet another special livery in today's airport update. There will be several of them in today's video, just because a lot of aircraft did visited Baltimore today. So this Southwest 747-700 in the Arizona 1 livery has just arrived in from Indianapolis and will be soon continuing out to Savannah and Georgia at Southwest Flight 878. So this aircraft, unfortunately, will be seeing a similar fate as Maryland 1 in real life, as this livery will be repainted onto a 747-800 most likely. So yeah, it's going to be sad. It's sad to see this aircraft sad to see this livery leave the 747-700. So, and that will be also taking place this month. So grateful to feature this aircraft for one last time on my YouTube channel. Alright, so proceeding on to some more Southwest 747. So yeah, so now we're over at the end of Concourse Bravo. So starting off our first aircraft, here is Southwest 747-800. He's just arrived in from Nashville at Southwest Flight 3614. We'll be soon heading out to Portland in Maine today at Southwest Flight 4314. Proceeding on to our next aircraft, here we have Southwest 747 in the Canyon Blue livery. So this aircraft will be making a visit to Baltimore tomorrow, and we'll be doing a flight out to Windsor Locks at Southwest Flight 106. So there's just 2 more Canyon Blue 747s left in the Southwest fleet that are not the retro livery max. So 2 more 700s that are left. So that's really sad to see, but I'm grateful to include a few more in these airport updates. So once again, this aircraft will be heading out to Windsor Locks. Proceeding on to our next aircraft, here we have a Southwest 747-MAX 8. He just arrived in from Tampa today at Southwest Flight 427. And he'll be soon heading out to Destin Fort Walton Beach at Southwest Flight 4382. And proceeding on to our next aircraft, here we have Southwest 747 with splits once again. This aircraft has arrived in from West Palm Beach today at Southwest Flight 1129. And he'll be soon heading out to Charlotte in North Carolina at Southwest Flight 155. Moving on to our next aircraft, here we Southwest 747-MAX 8, this time the NG miles version. This aircraft has arrived in from Minneapolis today at Southwest Flight 1477, and he'll be soon heading out to San Antonio, at Southwest Flight 569. Moving on to our next aircraft, here we never Southwest special livery. This time it's Nevada 1 on the Boeing 747-800, and same story with the Desert Golden Max. I did see this aircraft over at Baltimore when it was on the Dash 700 back in 2021 at the same gate. So yeah, that's a really fun fact there. Anyway, so this Southwest 747-800 in the Nevada 1 livery has arrived in from Denver at Southwest Flight 3267. And he'll be soon heading out to Rochester, New York at Southwest Flight 2140. And proceeding on to our final aircraft over at Concourse Bravo and Concourse Alpha. Here we Southwest 747-800. This aircraft has arrived in from Columbus in Ohio at Southwest Flight 4411. We'll be soon heading out to Sarasota in Florida at Southwest Flight 1278. So that's it for Concourse Bravo. And alright, so moving on over to Concourse Charlie in today's airport dates. So yes, we got more Southwest aircraft, so there's a ton more we'll be going over in today's airport date, but also we have American Airlines over here, so there you go. And we also have Contour Airlines being represented on Embraer J145, as I do not have a Contour model in the collection. I may get the Gemini version in the future. I decided to skip out on that model, but I shouldn't have, but I did, so maybe one day I'll be able to get that model for a good deal. So yeah, so nonetheless, let's get started over at Concourse Charlie. And alright, so proceeding on to our first aircraft here with Contour and we're J135. This aircraft will be heading out to Macon, Georgia today as Contour Flight 3104. So Contour's one of those unique Baltimore airlines, so great to see it. And proceeding on to our next aircraft in today's airport day here with Southwest 747-800. A shocker, right? So here, yeah, absolute shocker. But this aircraft will be leasing some somewhat unique routes. So this aircraft has arrived in from Salt Lake City at Southwest Flight 951. We'll be soon heading out to Los Angeles at Southwest Flight 3227. Moving on to our next aircraft in today's airport day here with another Southwest 747-800. This time it's the NG miles version with Swiss skimmer wings, so a different model there. This aircraft has just arrived in from Phoenix at Southwest Flight 3337. And we'll be soon heading out to Jackson, Mississippi at Southwest Flight 4648. And fun fact, I have been on that Jackson, Mississippi flight once before. Moving on to yet another special livery in today's airport date. So this Southwest Boeing 747-800 in the Tennessee 1 livery has just arrived in from Myrtle Beach at Southwest Flight 2035. It'll be heading out to San Juan in Puerto Rico at Southwest Flight 4375. Proceeding on to another Southwest 747-MAX 8. So this Southwest 737-MAX 8, we'll say he has just arrived in from Pittsburgh at Southwest Flight 656. He'll be soon heading out to Albuquerque at Southwest Flight 1330. And we still have a few more Southwest aircraft to go. So moving on to our next aircraft here for another Southwest 747-MAX 8. This aircraft has just arrived in from Chicago Midway at Southwest Flight 2015. He'll be soon heading out to Grand Rapids in Michigan as Southwest Flight 3981. Proceeding on to our next aircraft here for Southwest 747-800 with the blended winglets. This aircraft has just arrived in from Atlanta, Georgia at Southwest Flight 8544. He'll be soon heading out to Liberia and Costa Rica at Southwest Flight 809. And the final Southwest aircraft in today's airport day is the lovely Southwest Airlines Boeing 747-800 in the New Mexico 1 livery, so another special livery that made a visit on today's date. So this aircraft has arrived in from Savannah in Georgia at Southwest Flight 4586 and will be soon heading out to Charleston in South Carolina at Southwest Flight 2891. And before we move on to American Airlines, one more special livery aircraft did make a visit today, which is the Southwest 747-800 in the California 1 livery. Unfortunately, there's no model of that in the 1/400 scale, so we could not represent that in today's airport update. And proceeding on to some American 747s. So, yeah, fun fact: American Airlines mainly sends 747s into Baltimore, and just 747-800s and Maxes. So it's kind of like Southwest Airlines there. So we're continuing the Boeing 737 train. So this American 747-800 will be heading out to Dallas-Fort Worth today as American Flight 241. Absolute shocker out there too, but yeah, there you go. And moving on to our next aircraft here, an American 747-800 in the 1 World livery, which, fun fact, this aircraft also made a visit in today's Baltimore airport update, so another special livery to add to the airport update. So this American 747-800 in the 1 World livery will be heading out to Charlotte as American Flight 2049. And our final aircraft over at Concourse Charlie in today's airport date, which is the American 747-MAX 8, which will be doing a service out to Miami in Florida as American Flight 1183. And alright, so moving on to Concourse Delta. So this concourse extends off of the main loop of the airport. So passengers will enter from the terminal over there, and then they'll proceed on to Concourse Delta, which has the vast majority of Baltimore's other airlines, including Frontier Airlines, Spirit Airlines, United Airlines, Avelo, Alaska Airlines, Delta, Sun Country, and Allegiant Airlines. So there you go. And yeah, so that is mainly what Concourse Delta is. So Concourse Delta consists of another portion of the terminal over there, but I could not represent that today because I don't have enough space for that. Plus those gates are mainly common use gates, so yes, that's where aircraft just go over there. I have nowhere else to go over at Baltimore, basically. So, especially like the Delta overnight flights I've seen parking over there. So, yeah. So, in this portion of Concourse Delta has the Frontier section. Over here is the Spirit Airlines section. So where my camera is facing right now is facing east. So, this is the western portion of Concourse Delta. And then United Airlines occupies the end portion of Concourse Delta over here. And then Avelo Airlines and Alaska Airlines share a common use gates over here. There is another gate here, but I don't have enough space to represent that. Delta Airlines has the end portion of Concourse Delta over there. And then Sun Country Airlines and Allegiant occupy this gate over here. I do not have Allegiant Air today's airport date, just because on the few days I'm basing this airport update off with, which is Sunday, June 9th, Monday, June 10th, and Tuesday, June 11th, there is no Allegiant Air flights, which is a little interesting. So perhaps they're a seasonal airline over at Baltimore, but I have not seen those flights. So we won't be representing Allegiant Air, unfortunately. I would represent them, though, but I really want to do realistic flights with flight numbers. So nonetheless, we'll be starting off with the models themselves over at Concourse Delta. And alright, so starting off with the Frontier Airlines section. So starting off our first aircraft, here a Frontier. It was A321neo in the Chopper, the Great White Shark Tail. What a great Aero Classics model. And this aircraft has arrived in from Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson National Airport as Frontier Flight 1080. And it'll be soon heading out to Cleveland in Ohio as Frontier Flight 4009. So there you go. Yeah, I really love using the Frontier A321neos. They just look so great in these airport updates. But this Frontier aircraft does not look too great, though, because this is the General Jets Frontier A320 and the Champ the Bronco tail. Really love the horse on the tail, but the rest of this model is pretty mediocre. So this Frontier A320neo has arrived in from Charlotte as Frontier Flight 3076. Will be heading out to Tampa as Frontier Flight 4091. So Frontier Airlines does operate a few flights over at Baltimore, and they do, and surprisingly enough, Baltimore is not a focus city for them. So yes, that is a big surprise there. So Frontier also operates several other routes, including services out to Cancun, Chicago Midway, Cleveland, Dallas-Fort Worth, Detroit, Miami, Orlando, San Juan, Puerto Rico, and Denver. And that Tampa route was a seasonal route along with their Denver route. So yeah, grateful to utilize Frontier over at my Baltimore International Airport. And proceeding on to one taxiing aircraft here for Spirit Airbus A319. He just arrived in from New Orleans as Spirit Flight 1527, and he'll be soon heading out to Fort Lauderdale as Spirit Flight 420. Man, this Spirit section is looking really great over at Baltimore. Kind of reminds me of Fort Lauderdale, but yeah, it's really great to feature all these Spirit models in a row. I haven't really ever got to do that before on this YouTube channel. So yeah, so we'll be starting off with the first Spirit aircraft. So starting off with the first aircraft here is Spirit Airbus A320 with fence tips. So this aircraft has arrived in from Boston as Spirit Flight 931, and he'll be soon heading out to Myrtle Beach or Spirit Flight 1171. Proceeding on to our next aircraft here is Spirit Airbus A321-200. Spirit sends several of these into Baltimore. There's a lot of A321C routes, but I only have one of these in my collection, so we'll just be doing one route today. And this aircraft has arrived in from Orlando as Spirit Flight 2005, and he'll be soon heading out to Cancun as Spirit Flight 1025. Proceeding on to our next aircraft here is Spirit Airbus A320neo. This aircraft will be heading out to Miami today as Spirit Flight 1831. And the final Spirit aircraft in today's airport day here is Spirit Airbus A321neo. He's just arrived in from Los Angeles as Spirit Flight 128. And he'll be soon heading out to San Jose, California as Spirit Flight 1295. So yes, the Spirit Airlines does operate a pretty good sized focus city over at Baltimore. So there's several other routes we did not mention today, including Dallas Fort Worth, Houston Intercontinental, Las Vegas, Myrtle Beach, Portland, Oregon, Sacramento, California. So some interesting Spirit routes there. San Diego, San Juan, and Tampa. So they do operate some good routes there. A lot of California routes, which is pretty surprising there. Wish we could have featured those in today's video, but fortunately we did not. But unfortunately, we did not in model form. So yeah, so that's it for the Spirit Airlines. And alright, so we're moving on to United Airlines, who occupies this end section over at Concourse Delta. So yeah, so starting off our next aircraft, here we United Boeing 747-MAX 9 in the Evil Blue livery. What a lovely Gemini Jetson model. And this aircraft will be heading out to Chicago O'Hare as United Flight 461. So yes, so United Airlines mainly sends 747-900s and MAX 9s to Baltimore. That's pretty much it. They sometimes send the A320s, so lots of Boeing 747s are at Baltimore. It's kind of a theme of this airport update. So here we have our next aircraft, a United 747-800, so that's a little different there. This aircraft will be heading out to Denver as United Flight 1633, and that route is also served by MAX 8s. Moving on to our next aircraft, here we United 747-900ER, the most common United aircraft over at Baltimore. This aircraft will be heading out to Houston as United Flight 2128. And also United Airlines does operate flights to Los Angeles and San Francisco, so there you go. On mainline, and they do operate some United Express flights to O'Hare and Houston Intercontinental, even though I could not find those in on today's date. So mainly United sends mainline aircraft over to Baltimore. Moving on to our next aircraft here in Avila, Boeing 747-800. He'll be doing a seasonal service out to Wilmington, North Carolina as Avila Flight 774. So there you go. Avila also operates a New Haven service, and they're all seasonal flights, so grateful to feature those in today's airport. All right, so moving on to our next aircraft here in Alaska Airlines, Boeing 747-900ER. He'll be doing his typical service out to Seattle as Alaska Flight 375. So Alaska Airlines mainly sends 747-900s into Baltimore, but they also sometimes send the MAX 9. And we'll be proceeding on to Delta Airlines over on my Baltimore Thurgood International Airport. They do have a pretty good presence over at Baltimore. Lots of mainline routes, so that's pretty exciting. We do have one returning aircraft I haven't featured in a while, which is this Delta Airlines Boeing 747-900ER by Gemini Jets, and this is their first release. I fixed up the tires on this model, which is pretty exciting, and hopefully I'll be able to fix that tail so I can feature this aircraft more in airport updates, because this model's I really want to feature this model a little bit more, but it's just been sitting around just because of that shattered tail on it. But at Baltimore, Delta sends a ton of 747-900s, so I have to have another one, so that's why we included this aircraft in today's airport date. So this Delta 747-900ER will be heading out to Minneapolis as Delta Flight 2872. Proceeding on to our next aircraft here, Delta was A321-200. He'll be doing the flight out to Salt Lake City today as Delta Flight 1176. And we got one regional aircraft over at Delta today. Here we Delta CRJ-900. He'll be doing a Endeavor Air flight out to New York John F. Kennedy as Delta Flight 5420. And proceeding on to some more Delta aircraft. Here we have another Delta 747-900ER This time, this aircraft will be heading out to Detroit as Delta Flight 2601. And moving on to our next aircraft, you have the lovely Delta Airlines Boeing 757-200 without winglets. Yes, this is the Gen 2 configuration that Delta sends a ton to Baltimore on their Atlanta route. And yeah, so all Gen 2 aircraft. So this Delta 757-200 will be heading out to Atlanta, Hartsfield, Jackson, the early morning flight. That's Delta Flight 2950. And proceeding on to our next aircraft, here we have Delta Connection. We're at your J175. This aircraft will be heading out to Boston as Delta Flight 5701. This is a Republic Airways flight. And our final aircraft over at Concourse Delta is this Sun Country 747-800. He'll be doing a flight out to Minneapolis at Sun Country Flight 194. So that's it for Concourse Delta. Let's move on to the international. All right, so proceeding on to Concourse Echo, or the international terminal over at my Baltimore International Airport. So at the end of the loop houses the international terminal with several key international airlines over at Baltimore, including British Airways, Condor, so that's really exciting, a little different international airline for the Random Airports, as well as Icelandair, Play Airlines, so that's a new international airline to the Random Airport lineup, and Copa Airlines, that's another new airline to Baltimore. I think that's the newest international airline there. Then we also have a few international rivals from Southwest Airlines there, so some airports that don't have TSA pre-check, so yeah, I'll mention those when we get to those. So yes, the international terminal of Baltimore houses these cool airlines here. Also, I have Allegiant over here because they parked their charter flight over here, which we'll go over in a minute. So there you go. So that's it for the overview of Concourse Echo. Let's proceed on to the first aircraft. And all right, so proceeding on to the first aircraft. So here we have an Allegiant. There was the E320. He's just riding in from Flint, Michigan as Allegiant Flight 4930. So that is a charter flight there. I still could not find any Allegiant routes. I looked for Flight Radar 24 again. I could not find any regular passenger routes. So this is interesting. We get to feature a charter Allegiant route, at least some sort of Allegiant aircraft in today's airport day. And this, yeah, and we'll say this Allegiant A320 will be heading out to Knoxville later on today. That is another Allegiant route. Yeah, so Allegiant also serves Asheville, Destin, Sarasota, Savannah, and seasonally to Punta Gorda, Florida. But I could not find any of those routes in today's airport day, so we'll just be sending this aircraft over to Knoxville, because why not? Give it a little repositioning flight, I guess, or just a normal passenger flight. Proceeding on to our international airlines now, we'll be starting off with our first aircraft here in the Icelandair, Boeing 737 MAX 8. So, yes, really great to feature Icelandair over at Baltimore. So this Icelandair MAX 8 will be heading out to Reykjavik as Icelandair Flight 42 Papa. So there you go, that's a little different flight number there. And proceeding on to our next aircraft, another Iceland aircraft. Here at Play Airlines, there was the E321 who's also will be doing a flight to Reykjavik. So these two airlines got some competition. I mean, they got beef with each other over at Baltimore. Yes, as soon as Play Airlines started flying to Baltimore, Icelandair decided to return their service to Baltimore. And the initial reason why Icelandair began service to Baltimore is just because of WOW Airlines did as well. So they got to compete with their fellow Iceland Airlines. So so it's a little competition there, but yeah, I guess competition can be healthy sometimes in the aviation industry, leading to lower airfares for passengers. So there's benefits of competition as well. And moving on to our next international aircraft here at Copa Airlines, Boeing 747-800. He'll be doing a flight out to Panama City as Copa Airlines Flight 709. So yeah, so Copa Airlines mainly sends the 747-800 to Panama City, but they also send some 747 MAX 9s. I do not have one of those yet in my collection. I should begin one soon, though, for our upcoming Random Airport updates, which will be really exciting. And proceeding on to some international arriving Southwest aircraft. So our first aircraft is the Southwest 747-800. This aircraft is just riding from Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic at Southwest Flight 812, and it'll be soon heading out to Nashville at Southwest Flight 2816, and he'll be getting towed over to Concourse Alpha in a little bit. And same kind of story with this Southwest aircraft. This Southwest 747 MAX 8 has just arrived in from Montego Bay in Jamaica at Southwest Flight 919, and he'll be soon heading out to Dallas Love Field at Southwest Flight 259, so he'll be getting towed over to Concourse Bravo. And alright, so moving on to our next international airline, being Condor Airlines, arguably the most unique airline out of Baltimore as of recent, just because in the past few months, Air Senegal used to fly to Baltimore using their A330neos. But unfortunately, they suspended their service here, so we cannot represent that in today's video. And plus, I don't have an Air Senegal model, but that would have been a really cool model to have for this airport. But this Condor A330-800 Neo is still a really cool model to feature over at my Baltimore airport. So this Condor A330-900 will be heading out to Frankfurt as Condor Flight 2075. In our final passenger aircraft in today's airport today, yes, and there will be some cargo aircraft in a minute. This British Airways Boeing 787-10 operating for a 77-9, which I still don't have in my collection yet. Please, Gemini Jets or NG Models re-release a British Airways 77-9. I'd definitely buy it. Gemini Jets, that'd be great. Gemini Jets does. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. They released a -8, which I should go get as well. But at least they're having British Airways 787 of some sort. So let's be using the 77-10 for this. So I'm sure this aircraft was used at some point anyway. So this British Airways Boeing 787-10 will be heading out to London Heathrow as British Airways Flight 228. And alright, so moving on to the final section of today's airport day, which is the cargo airline section. And we do have a few exciting models over here to represent today's video. So nonetheless, let's get started off with our first aircraft over at the cargo section, which is this Alice Air Boeing 747-400 interactive with the open nose here. And I'm just feeling grateful to finally use this model in its intended purpose of being an interactive model, so you can load in the cargo for the nose of this aircraft, or the grounds crew can. So this Alice Air Boeing 747-400F will be doing a flight out to Miami today. Normally this route started by 767s, but according to Flight Radar 24, this is a 747 route, so we'll be sending a 747 on that route anyways. And I'm sure this aircraft has visited Baltimore before, and I really just wanted to spice it up a little bit in today's random airport day. So Baltimore is a pretty large hub for Prime Air, or not hub, but focus day kind of thing. So Prime Air does a variety of flights over to Baltimore, including cargo services to Atlanta, Chicago, Rockford, Cincinnati, Houston, Intercontinental, Miami, Minneapolis, Ontario, California, Portland, Oregon, Riverside/March Air Force Base, Sacramento, St. Louis, Tampa, and Wilmington, Ohio. So yes, there's a variety of services Prime Air offers over to Baltimore. So yeah, for packages at least. So yeah, so this Prime Air Boeing 767-300F, operated by Air Transport International, has just arrived in from Houston as Prime Air Flight 3360. It'll be soon heading out to Cincinnati as Prime Air Flight 3326. Proceeding on to our next Prime Air aircraft, being this Prime Air Boeing 747-800, and this is operated by Alice Air, so it's a little different operator here than the normal Sun Country operator. So this Prime Air 747-800 has just arrived in from Kansas City as Prime Air Flight 3622. It'll be soon heading out to Las Vegas as Prime Air Flight 3631. Proceeding on to FedEx Express. So FedEx Airlines has their typical FedEx Express has their typical presence over at Baltimore. So they operate a few mainland services to Columbus, Rickenbacker, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So that's a cool route there. Indianapolis and Memphis. And this FedEx Air 767 will be heading out to Memphis today as FedEx Flight 694. And FedEx also operates some feeder routes, including to Newark. So that's a interesting route to serve on Cessna 208s and Salisbury, Maryland. So there you go. That's another cool Cessna 208 route. Maybe one day we can get some Cessna 208s because I parked them right there. But yeah, those would be great. So this aircraft will be heading out to Memphis today. And the final aircraft in today's airport day is a UPS 757-200 operating for an A300/767. This aircraft will be heading out to Louisville today. So I do not have any other UPS aircraft. I really need to get a 767. And Gemini just told me that maybe they'll re-release it again, or I can just get an older release for a good price on eBay or through my retailers or whatever method I can. So I might get a UPS 767. We could finally have some realistic UPS routes. And UPS also sends the E300, and I really need to find the Aero Classics version. And UPS also sends MD-11s into Baltimore sometimes. So that's a really cool aircraft to see over at Baltimore. So and that, folks, that's going to conclude today's airport day. Once again, this was the 10th random airport day, and this is for the second half of June 2024 for Baltimore Thurgood International Airport. So this was a very fun airport update to make for you guys. It took me quite a bit because this is one of the largest airports I've ever done on this YouTube channel. Yes, only Jacksonville, only Jacksonville is larger than this airport in terms of amount of miles I put in the airport update. This airport day had a whopping 63 miles in it, so almost like a Jacksonville Fictional airport day, plus a little bit more explaining, and got a cargo section too. So yeah, it's a fun video to make for you guys. I always want to do a Baltimore International Airport day just because I've flown into this airport several times before, and my family lives nearby Baltimore, so, or a lot of my family at least, so. Yeah, so it's a sentimental airport to me, and yeah. And yes, I really want to do my own Baltimore International Airport. I know Aviation 18 does have a great Baltimore International Airport series, so if you want to see more airport updates of this airport, check out his series, and I'll link that in the description below. Yes, he does really good Baltimore International Airport updates. I just really want to add my own spice to it and just make it a little larger and just add some unique models to it. So yeah, and then I know a lot of you request this airport for the random airport dates. I got a few requests for this airport as well. So overall, I just had to do this airport date, and yes, it's the 10th random airport date. So let's celebrate with a bang. So yes, so that does conclude this video. Hopefully everybody enjoyed this video, and so hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching this video, and have a wonderful day.